met Vanessa on Bumble one quiet Sunday night. Her profile was full of bright smiles and perfect angles. She called herself a digital creator and entrepreneur. Her bio said she lived life on her own terms. She looked confident, ambitious, untouchable. I was drawn to her energy immediately. We started talking, and she made everything sound exciting. She said she loved people who understood her vibe. I didn't realize then that her vibe was expensive. Our first date was at a nice steakhouse downtown. She walked in wearing a designer dress and perfect makeup. She ordered the most expensive steak on the menu. Added lobster tail, a cocktail, and dessert. I smiled when the check came, but she didn't move. She just scrolled through her phone like paying wasn't her problem. I paid, of course, thinking she'd offer next time. She never did. Vanessa had a way of making luxury feel normal. Everywhere we went, she looked like she belonged there. High-end restaurants, rooftop bars, boutique shops. But the truth was, she didn't belong anywhere near financial responsibility. She worked part-time at a small fashion boutique. She made maybe $16,000 a year on paper. But online, she lived like a millionaire. She always talked about manifesting abundance. What she really meant was finding someone to fund it. She had over 2,000 followers on Instagram. She called them her community. Every post was perfectly curated. A new handbag. A new cafe. A quote about independence and confidence. I was proud of her at first. It felt like dating someone driven and passionate. But slowly, her independence started costing me money. It began small. She'd forget her wallet. She'd ask for gas money, just this once. Then her car broke down, and suddenly I was paying repair bills. She'd sigh at restaurants and say she couldn't afford the salad. She'd text me, "I hate asking for help, but..." And I'd send the money every time. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself I was helping someone I loved. But every time I paid, she posted something about being self-made. Every time I covered a bill, she called herself independent online. The irony didn't hit me yet. I was too focused on keeping her happy. She knew exactly how to time her requests. Right after a sweet moment. Right after we'd spent the night together. She'd curl up next to me and whisper about her struggles. Her voice soft, her eyes full of guilt. She made me feel like her savior. And I liked it. That's how manipulation works. It feels like love until you look at the receipts. I started tracking everything out of curiosity. Every meal, every transfer, every forgotten payment. The list grew fast. It wasn't love anymore. It was a silent transaction. But I didn't stop. I didn't walk away. Because I still believed she'd eventually see my effort. I thought she'd appreciate the stability I offered. Instead, she was already planning her next upgrade. By the third month, Vanessa had turned my generosity into a routine. Every week there was a new problem only I could fix. Her rent was late again. Her boss had cut her hours. Her car needed new tires. Her phone bill was overdue. And every time, she'd sigh and say she hated asking. She made it sound like an emergency, not a pattern. She always found a way to make me feel like the hero. She'd call me her rock, her safe place, her support system. Then she'd post online about being independent. It was almost impressive how easily she shifted between roles. Online, she was fearless. Offline, she was helpless. She lived two different lives, and I was paying for both. By month 4, my savings were shrinking. I had stopped tracking for a while because it hurt to see the numbers. But I knew something was off. Every dinner, every grocery run, every just this once payment added up. I was buying groceries for both of us, paying utilities, even covering her rent. It wasn't partnership anymore. It was quiet dependency. She'd tell her friends I was supportive and mature. But she never said I was the one keeping her afloat. When we were out, she always pointed out luxury cars. She'd say, "That's goals," or "Someday I'll have that." She talked about celebrities like she knew them. She could name every designer brand by heart. Sometimes I wondered if she loved me or my stability. But then she'd smile, and I'd forget my doubts. She had this way of turning guilt into affection. When I was upset, she'd cry and say I didn't understand her struggle. She'd hug me and whisper, "You're different from the others." And I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe I wasn't being used. One night, I checked my bank app and froze. $4,000 gone in 6 months. That's when I made a spreadsheet. I wrote down every expense, every Venmo, every forgotten wallet. The total kept climbing until I couldn't ignore it. But instead of confronting her, I blamed myself. I told myself, good men take care of their partners. I told myself love isn't about keeping score. That's what she wanted me to think. She'd post quotes about real men investing in their woman. It was never about love. It was about leverage. She once said, "You make me feel safe." Now I realize she meant, "You make me feel secure financially." The more I gave, the less she respected me. The more I sacrificed, the more she expected. She never said thank you. Not once. She'd just smile and say, "You're amazing," before asking for more. And I kept saying yes. Because I was already too deep to walk away. Because I thought love meant fixing everything. But love isn't measured by how much you spend. It's measured by how much respect you get in return. And with Vanessa, respect was something I could never afford. It started with one name I'd never wanted to hear again. Logan. Her ex. She mentioned him one night while scrolling through Instagram. She laughed softly and said, "Oh wow, he's back in town." I asked who he was, pretending not to care. She said, "We dated for a few years, but it's nothing now." The next day, she brought him up again. Then again the day after. At first, it seemed harmless. Old friends reconnecting, nothing more. But soon, her phone started buzzing more often. Every notification made her smile in that way. She didn't smile at me anymore. She told me he was doing well, making 6 figures, driving a BMW. She said he'd just been promoted to regional sales manager. She said it like it was something I should be proud of too. I tried to act cool, calm, mature. I told myself I was secure enough to handle it. But inside, something twisted every time she said his name. Then came the first catch-up lunch. She said it was innocent. Just old friends sharing memories. She spent 2 hours getting ready for it. Perfect makeup. New dress. The same perfume she wore when we first met. When she came home, she was glowing. She couldn't stop talking about the restaurant, the wine, the view. She said Logan still had that charm. I smiled and said nothing. But my chest felt heavy. The lunches became weekly. Then twice a week. She'd mention how elegant his apartment was. How smooth his car felt. How confident he was compared to other men. She never said my name, but she didn't have to. I was the comparison. I was the one who paid bills, while he paid for champagne. She started dressing differently. More polished. More like the woman she wanted to be in Logan's world. Every night she'd scroll through his photos, pretending it was casual. I knew it was. Once, I caught her smiling at an old picture of them together. She said, "It's just memories, Ethan, don't be insecure." That word again. Insecure. It became her excuse for everything. Anytime I questioned something, she'd say I was overreacting. She said Logan respected her ambition. That he got her. It was like watching her slip away in slow motion. I wanted to believe she loved me, not the lifestyle. But her eyes said otherwise. When she talked about Logan, they lit up. When she looked at me, they dimmed. She began staying out later. Claimed she was working extra shifts. But her boutique closed at 8, and she'd get home after midnight. I didn't need proof to know. I just needed to admit it. She wasn't comparing anymore. She was deciding. And I was slowly realizing that I'd already lost. Not to another man, but to the version of herself she wanted to become. The kind that only existed in reflections of other people's wealth. It happened on a Thursday night while we were having dinner. Simple meal, chicken and rice, nothing special. Vanessa was quiet, scrolling through her phone. Then she smiled, that same half-smirk she used when she wanted something. She turned the screen toward me. "Look at this hotel," she said. A massive suite, ocean view, marble floors, balcony hot tub. "Logan's in Miami for a business conference," she continued. "He invited me to come. 2 bedrooms, all paid for." I froze, thinking it was some kind of joke. "You're kidding, right?" I asked. She frowned. "Why would I be kidding? He's a friend." "A friend you used to sleep with," I said quietly. She rolled her eyes. "You're being dramatic, Ethan. We're adults. Adults don't vacation with their exes." She laughed under her breath. "Maybe you should learn to trust people." That word again, trust. She said it like it was a weapon. "Vanessa, I'm not okay with this," I told her. She leaned back in her chair and crossed her arms. "You're pathetic," she said. The room went silent. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just looked at her and felt something break inside me. She kept talking, calling me insecure, jealous, controlling. Every word chipped away at what was left of our relationship. She packed her bags that night. Before leaving, she posted a photo of her and Logan. An old picture from years ago, smiling in fancy clothes. The caption read, "Can't wait to reunite with this one in Miami." The comments poured in. "OMG, you two are perfect. So happy for you." And one from her friend, "What about Ethan?" Vanessa replied, "Some people can handle a strong woman, others can't." I saw it all. I didn't comment. I didn't text. I just watched her board that plane in my mind. While she was drinking champagne in a suite, I was at home. I went through my messages, my bank records, my Venmo history. Every dollar I'd sent her. Every lie she told. $7,847 in total. I wrote it all down. Then I started digging into Logan. His company, his job, his posts. Turns out the conference was fake. He'd been laid off weeks before. The Miami trip was just his last show before everything collapsed. Vanessa didn't know. She thought she was leveling up. She thought she'd traded security for luxury. She was wrong. When she came home, she was glowing. She said it was the best trip of her life. Then she smiled and asked, "Did you miss me?" I looked at her and said, "I missed the version of you that was real." Her face fell. I showed her the spreadsheet, the screenshots, the truth. Logan was broke. The trip was fake. And so was she. That was the night everything ended. No yelling, no crying, no closure. Just silence, and the sound of her world starting to crumble. After she left, the silence in my apartment felt heavy. I sat there with her words still echoing in my head. Pathetic. It replayed over and over until anger turned into clarity. For 10 months, I had been her sponsor, not her partner. And now, she was out there pretending to be the victim. So I decided to show everyone the truth. I started collecting everything. Screenshots, messages, bank transfers, Instagram posts. Every lie she'd posted about independence. Every forgotten wallet and emergency. I didn't want revenge. I wanted accountability. 3 days later, I built a website. Simple, clean, factual. I called it the Vanessa Files. Each section had receipts, dates, and screenshots. Her post saying, "Strong women don't need men." Right next to her Venmo request for rent money. Her Miami photos with Logan, captioned "Success Vibes." Next to proof that Logan was unemployed, I added every expense, every dollar. $7,847 in total. It wasn't just about her taking money. It was about her building a fake life with mine. When the site went live, I didn't expect what came next. People started sharing it. First quietly, then everywhere. Her coworkers saw it. Her friends saw it. Even her family saw it. By the end of the week, the link was all over social media. At first, she texted me in anger. "You're cruel," she wrote. "You're trying to ruin me." I didn't respond, because she'd already ruined herself. The fallout was fast. Her boutique manager called her in and fired her. They said her behavior reflected badly on the brand. Then Logan found the site. He was furious too. He thought she cared about him, but she was just using him for content. He posted a rant about fake people chasing money. It went viral in our city. Vanessa's reputation crumbled overnight. The people who once commented hearts on her posts unfollowed her. No brand wanted to work with her. No one wanted to be seen near her. Without me paying her bills, reality hit her hard. Her rent was due. Her car payments stacked up. Her phone got disconnected. She started calling me again. Crying. Begging. "I know I messed up, Ethan. I just need help." I said, "You wanted independence. Now you've got it." She came to my door once, pale and exhausted. Said she'd lost her job because of the website. I looked at her and said, "Actions have consequences." She cried until her voice cracked. But I didn't move. Because the truth doesn't apologize. The website stayed up. Her image came down. For the first time, the world saw her without filters. And for the first time, I finally saw peace. Weeks passed before I heard from her again. By then, the website had spread everywhere. People called it a public service. Some said it was cruel. But no one denied it was true. Vanessa disappeared from social media. No stories, no selfies, no quotes about power. It was like she'd vanished. Until one night, she called me. Her voice was shaky, quiet, different. "Ethan, please, I'm sleeping in my car." "You don't have a car anymore," I said. "I'm staying on friends' couches just for now," she whispered. Her tone carried panic. "I can't get a job. No one will hire me. They've all seen the site." I told her I was sorry for her situation, but she'd made her choices. She said she was hungry, scared, and broke. She said I had ruined her life. I reminded her she ruined mine first. She hung up crying. A week later, she showed up at my door again. She looked nothing like the woman I used to know. No makeup, messy hair, eyes red and hollow. She said she'd lost everything. Her apartment, her car, her friends. Even her phone contract had been canceled. She asked me to take the website down. She promised she'd start over, move away, work hard. She said, "Just give me a chance to rebuild." I told her the website stays. It wasn't revenge anymore. It was truth, and truth doesn't get deleted. She screamed, said I was heartless. I said I was finally free. A month later, her sister reached out. Her message was long, emotional, and honest. She said Vanessa had hit rock bottom. She'd been living in a shelter, then moved into a small shared room. She was finally going to therapy. She got a job at a gas station, minimum wage, but stable. She was paying her own bills for the first time in years. Her sister said Vanessa wanted to apologize, but couldn't face me. She asked her to tell me she finally understood. She said Vanessa accepted the consequences. That she was learning what real independence meant. For a long time, I didn't know how to feel. Part of me wanted to forgive her. Part of me couldn't forget the damage she caused. She had taken my trust, my peace, and turned it into her brand. But she had also shown me who I really was. I learned boundaries. I learned silence can speak louder than revenge. I left the website up, not to punish her but to teach others. Financial manipulation hides behind charm. It looks like love, but it drains you piece by piece. Vanessa's story became a warning. Mine became a reminder. Love without respect is a transaction. Trust without honesty is a trap. And sometimes, losing someone who used you is the most profitable thing you'll ever do. Months have passed since everything ended. The website still exists, untouched, quiet, and undeniable. Sometimes I check the traffic, and people still visit. They read her story and see what manipulation looks like. It's no longer about anger. It's about awareness. Vanessa is working now, living a smaller life. Her sister says she's finally honest with herself. I haven't spoken to her since that night. I don't hate her anymore, but I don't miss her either. What I miss is the peace I lost before I knew the truth. Now I have it back. I learned that strength isn't about control or revenge. It's about walking away with dignity. I don't need closure or apology. I already got both in silence. The truth doesn't need noise to be powerful. It just needs to be seen. She taught me how dangerous illusions can be. And I taught myself how to let go. In the end, I didn't lose a woman. I lost a burden disguised as love. And honestly, that's the best trade I've ever made.